what happens when you don't listen to your friends. If you notice in that picture, there are scars from cuts long since past. Um, that's Anna Hunka's wrist. That was to one of the Starbucks employees who I thought was my friend. I sent that out to a lot of people. I was trying to get Anna help. Actual help. She's dead now, just so you know. The wrist on the screensaver here belongs to a dead girl that you killed. You killed by not caring. You didn't understand the impact of your words. You didn't care about the impact of your words. What you cared about is what other people might think if you told the truth. What they might think about you if you told the truth. I want you guys to take a look at how hard I fought for you guys, how dedicated I was to protecting you. All of you at Starbucks, especially. All of you who are homeless, especially. And all of you children, especially. I understand most of those children are grown up now. It's good. It's good that it survived this long. Anna Hunka was one of the people I was going to try to get help. She was an alcoholic. Being suicidal doesn't mean you're trying to commit suicide. It means there are things in your life that are unbearable. You know, you guys, your idea is that we should just look the other way. We should just love ourselves. We come to you because we're being assaulted or raped or molested. And you tell us we just need to love ourselves. Holy fucking shit, you call that advice? You call that help? That dismisses the victim outright and everything that they're going through before they've even stated a goddamn thing. But they want to believe you actually care, so they try to tell you what's going on. Oh, it's fucking overwhelming. This post is about suicide prevention, how you can help prevent suicide. By not fucking copping that shit off like that. By not blowing people off. When somebody is coming to you about abuse, telling them about your abuse isn't help. Telling them about your abuse from 20 years ago isn't help. A lot of times I have people that they tell me from their experience, right? Which is understandable. Well, from their experience, they went in by themselves. They were lied to about what the law actually states. And so then they regurgitate back at me this crap that they were told by police officers as if it must be true. No, 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 no. That's the whole thing about color of law. The fact is, it's not physical or sexual abuse that kills us. It's emotional abuse and neglect. It's you dismissing us before we even get to speak because you're already giving advice and you're already telling us about yourself. You have not heard anything that I've said. When I try to explain something to you and I say something to you literally 30 times in one conversation, and then you say, well, Sean, you never said that. No, I absolutely did. Here's the recording. Fuck you, blocked. It's the first thing they do. Oh my God, Sean told the truth and I didn't. I better block him. I better hide the fact that I screwed up. Isn't that right? All these people that I went to for help before Natalie was killed. So you guys want to pretend that I made stuff up and that nobody would ever abuse me and I deserve this because I spoke up about absolutely nothing. And then there's those of you who want to make excuses. You want to pretend like this slander must be true with zero evidence, zero fucking evidence, zero evidence. Why do my enemies win? Because they work together. But you don't want to hear it and you don't want to see it. You guys push us to commit suicide through neglect, through emotional abuse. You let us know that you don't care. If you care, you make the time. I see the friends that you make time for. I see the things that you make time for. I am not a priority in your life. I'm not a passing thought. Out of sight, out of mind. So why do you persist in sticking around? I tell you, hey, I'm going to expose it either way now. I have to. You had ample time and opportunity to come forward on your own, which you should have done so from the start, especially those of you who are mandated reporters. There's a woman named Lindsay Tanner, claims to be a mental health specialist. As a mandated reporter, it is her job to mandatedly turn it in. But she doesn't. If you see abuse against an at-risk adult on YouTube, you have to turn it into the authorities. Turning it into YouTube will destroy the evidence. And then the person has to fight to get the evidence back so that they can show it. So here's the thing. Are you complaining to the right people? Are you doing the right thing for the preservation of the evidence? Or are you destroying it and thinking you're doing the right thing? Oh, if we destroy the evidence that it happened, then we're doing the right thing. Holy shit! What are you fucking thinking? They're trying to get your help showing that evidence, showing that these things are happening, and you're going out of your way to destroy it. You go out of your way not to listen to the victim, and as soon as you get one of these fucking idiots that wants a cop out, they bullshit you and bullshit you and bullshit you until you explain to them, hey, you are pushing me to fucking suicide. And then they want to send you on, the same as everyone else, to the same places. Make the call with me. If you're going to send me to that place, the least you can fucking do is make the call with me. You find out for your fucking self what help they provide before bullshitting me about what they do. Before you go complaining about the fact that I put your personal business on YouTube and Facebook, keep in mind that those were your excuses for not helping me, for not paying attention, for blowing me off. You don't know shit because you went out of your way not to know shit. You tell me that I am selfish for showing that on YouTube and showing that on Facebook. How is it selfish? A lot of people's lives were threatened. And there are a lot of people who are dead. You tell me how selfish I am when my friends and family have been threatened since before Natalie was killed. Here's how it works in reality. In reality, I get abused. I speak out and seek help. Then I get abused for seeking help, and neglect is abuse. Dismissing someone outright before you've ever heard a thing that they have to say. Forcing them to scream at the top of their lungs. Forcing them to do what it is exactly that they're told not to do by the lawyers. When I try to follow the procedures that are supposed to be followed, I'm telling you what the procedures are that need to be followed. I'm telling you what the law states. I have looked it up. I have had to help a lot of people out of fucked up situations, and that's the most fucked up thing. There are literally dozens of people who are not homeless now because they had my help in person. And all of those people want to look down on me because I'm still homeless. Like I chose this. No, I didn't have that help. Those people are always the same, aren't they? They say, oh, dude, you help me, I'll help you. You help them and they ditch you and they pretend they did it all them fucking selves. They tell you you got to do it yourself. You got to do it alone because they had to do it alone like fucking hell you did. You got blown off for how many years? You get blown off for 6 years, and then Sean Schwartz goes to your appointments with you for 2 fucking months, going to your goddamn appointments with you. Jesus fucking Christ, Rebecca, you think you can speak up about that? Fuck, that wasn't easy. How about Christopher Weaver? Neglect is abuse. When your friend is coming to you for help because they're being abused over lies, and you are a witness to that. When these lies have been used to deny that person their rights as a human being and have made them a target that will not be heard. When their predators say to the courts that they did not try to get help. Well, I gotta ask you people, did I reach out to you for help? Did I? Did Christopher Weaver ever speak up about all of the shit that I did for him? Months and months and months, and there are witnesses to that too. Brandon Ratner and Veronica Randall. I still tell the good things that these people did for me and for others. It's not that they never did anything ever for anybody. It's they want to keep it a secret. They don't want to try what works, but they want to complain that the system doesn't work. I'm showing you why it doesn't work. You don't actively give a shit. They have to beg you to give a shit, and then you pretend in a few sentences like you give a fuck. But in reality, your few short sentences are dismissive as shit and show you don't care. You're going to send them to another crisis line. I ask you if you've ever called one of those crisis lines. No, you haven't. That's the problem. You haven't. I try to tell you what it's like. You're not going to listen. I have them recorded. If I take the time, hours of my day, to go find a place where I can sit down and go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of audio recordings to specifically find the places that you're sending me to so that I can find the recordings of those. Just those ones to send you. Hey, here's the places that you sent me to. Here are the recordings with the crisis line in Colorado. Here's the ones with the crisis line in Nebraska. Here's the ones with the crisis line here in Oregon. Here are multiple different crisis lines run by multiple different agencies. And guess what? None of them are doing their jobs. All of them are getting taxpayer dollars. You go to work, you pay those taxes. You want your tax dollars to work, you have to get involved to make them work. If you know your friend isn't schizophrenic, and they tell you that they're being abused, and nobody's listening to them because their predators are calling them schizophrenic, every bit of abuse that they take after that because you did not do something about it right away is your fault. And in most states, it is your fault by law. In most states. Now, here's the thing, Colorado. This is one of those states where by law, if I tell you about the abuse that I'm going through, and you do nothing and somebody ends up dead, you can go to prison for it. Every single person that I went to about the situation with Natalie Bollinger before she died, from Maddie Boa to Natalie's own fucking mother, Joanna Taylor Smith, every single person that I went to, regardless of what state that they are in, when it comes to abuse against at-risk adults who cannot defend themselves, it's a whole nother set of laws. But in order to access those laws, in order for those laws to actually be observed, one of you fuckheads got to tell the truth. You want to be pissed off that I post all over Facebook and YouTube the evidence that I told the truth, that I did go to you for help. And you know what? Here's the thing. In the state of Colorado, there are legal precedents already set. You can be charged with accessory to murder. That is no fucking joke. Any crime that has been committed against me, you can be charged as an accessory to that crime. You know that I'm an at-risk adult. You know I'm a disabled adult. And then knowing that I told the truth about you, knowing that I did reach out for help, knowing that I am not schizophrenic, you let people harm me for 6 years, knowing I was telling the truth. Why didn't you come forward? Why did you look away? When somebody has never been anything but good to you. When somebody went out and kept you safe in the situations where you did have to be afraid, and legitimately so. Now, there's stuff that I outright don't remember. All right? There is. Aaron blew his brains out. I didn't see that happen, but I know it happened. I didn't see the people that he kicked out of Starbucks corner him with knives. I didn't see that. I didn't protect him because I wasn't there. But he told me later on that I was. Like, well, I don't see how I would forget something like that. But then I look at how many situations where exactly that has happened right in front of me with so many other people. Like, yeah, it's hard to remember all of the horrible shit that I've seen in my life. You know, I didn't remember that happening, you know, when he was telling me about that. That was There was a lot of other people that were dying around me. There was a lot of other people that were ending up getting stabbed or shot or... Let's take a look at it, though. Let's take a look at it realistically at how it is. It's a two-part system. There's two types of abuse, the mother abuse and the father abuse. Now, this is how we need to assign them, because this is statistically how it goes. Although sometimes it's a different role, a different family member in that, or a different close loved one. Your daddy, he's supposed to protect you, right? But your daddy doesn't protect you. He molests you. Now, when he molests you, you don't like it, and you try telling your mom. This is where you get to choose whether you're going to be the good guy or the bad guy, Mom. Are you going to turn it in immediately? Because if you don't turn it in immediately, if you don't help your daughter to turn it in immediately, she will immediately lose any and all respect and trust that she has with and in you. You are someone that she is supposed to trust, someone she is supposed to love. Someone is supposed to love her. Who loved me that way? Nobody. Who loved Natalie that way? Me. Just me. Alicia did love her that way a little bit, but Alicia was also selfish. Alicia didn't stop to consider what Natalie wanted. Alicia was what Alicia wanted, and Natalie and I were very much alike. We're givers. We give the last of everything we have, including our lives. She wanted to make her family happy. You know, even in her death, she tried to make her family happy. These were her predators. And she tried to give them exactly what they wanted on the way out. All right, well, Sean exposed you for the horrible things that you did to Natalie. For Natalie, I want you to put yourself in her shoes. All she wants is for Mom to love her. All she wants is for her dad to love her. But her dad can't stop hitting her or raping her. And her mom won't do anything about it. I mean, I got verification from her mom right here on my YouTube channel. Verification from her mom, her ex-stepmoms, her friends, that show they all knew. They all knew. They all knew about Ted. They were all abused by Ted. And then I get treated like I'm selfish for speaking out. Meanwhile, we've got Andrew Witcher doing the same thing. Family don't make no difference to me. Between telling on the predator and trying to hide the fact that there's a predator in the family, I won't hide it. My little brother, Michael Allen Albert, he lives in Iowa, and he's a sick piece of shit. He's been a sexual predator since as long as I have known him. When we were kids, I didn't know my little brother. We were in different places, different foster homes, different group homes. And while my dad was in prison, he kind of got to actually stay with his dad. And while my dad has been a useless piece of shit most of my life, Michael Allen Albert, his dad, has basically set him up with everything that Michael needs for his entire life. Over and over again. My little brother doesn't have a worry in the world. He's got a father that he can depend on. And that's unfortunate, because that could have a lot to do with the reason that Michael is a sexual predator. Larry was a mean and heartless son of a bitch. I remember him growing up, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky my little brother doesn't remember all of that. Early childhood development and whatnot. When you dismiss the victim by interrupting to tell them they just need to love themselves, or a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, or they're suicidal because of neglect. That's right, neglect. Are you neglecting the friendship? Are they coming to you for help? Are you helping them immediately, or are you telling them about all of your problems for literally years? Here's the problem with doing that, is that the more you do that, the more people end up dead, and the more culpable you are, I believe is the proper word. Did you know that every friend that I went to and every officer that I spoke to can be sued by Natalie Bollinger's mom? Every single one of them. Every single person that I went to for help before Natalie Bollinger was killed in Nebraska, every single one of them are mandated reporters. So all of those people can be sued by Natalie's mother. All of the people that I went to that otherwise it wouldn't be important, the fact that Natalie Bollinger is dead makes you culpable and negligent. There's at least a dozen of you by playing victim when you got busted lying. There's even a crime called belligerence. There's also conspiracy. Now, this isn't conspiracy like you tinfoil hat motherfuckers want to think about. Oh, it's an alien putting probes in people's anus. No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with Uranus or Pluto. You guys push people to suicide through emotional abuse and neglect. When someone is trying to tell you about the abuse that they're going through, and you guys want to ask a bunch of questions, you need to stop. The only question that you should be asking is why, and you don't need to ask why because they're trying to tell you. If you're going to interrupt a mid-sentence to ask them why, they're busy telling you already why. When someone is suicidal, the questions that you need to be asking are all why questions. Or who? Who is harming you? And who is neglecting you? There's two types of harm that, we often say that those girls cutting on their wrists and boys committing suicide, it's over physical or sexual abuse. No, it's never over physical and sexual abuse. Ever. Not ever. It's about neglect. And neglect is emotionally abusive. When you tell somebody that they're your friend, and then you use them for everything that they're worth, and then they're not worth anything to you when they have nothing, what about those of us with nothing that give all that we have? We get told not to be that way. We get told, oh, we just need more kind people in the world, and then we get told not to be kind. We get told people need to be more like us, more honest. How many of y'all told me that you wish people were more like me before Natalie was killed? A lot of you. How many of you told me that I was the most real person you knew? A lot of you. A lot of you told me how much you... Oh, White Bronco. I wonder if there's a Simpson in there. The Simpsons. Sorry. That was just a short moment of ADOS, attention deficit squirrel. I saw a white Bronco, and that's the first thing to come to mind. The problem that we got now is people want to speak in generalities and they don't want to share any information. With all the people on my Facebook that offered to help and said they would help, and then they can't even listen, that's pretty screwed up. They're too busy telling me how to think and how to feel and telling me about all their fucking family problems. Jesus fucking Christ, why'd you offer? Why did you send me a friend request to begin with? You want to say because I thought you needed a friend, huh? Well, sometimes a friend's got to do friend shit. The things on my paperwork that it says are friends and family shit. If I let you onto my Facebook after Natalie was killed, it's because I had the hope that just one of you would try doing this friends or family shit. Actually try doing what works. Having someone go in with you. Going to these services alone is dumb. Then you say, oh, well, why'd you go alone if it's dumb? Because nobody would go in with me. Nobody would even fucking listen. They were too busy listening to the sound of their own fucking voices. Or their own internal monologue. That's the thing about someone who has always got an excuse. They've got their internal monologue already running excuses as you're speaking. So they miss most of what you're saying because of their internal monologue. They're hearing just enough to where they can find an excuse. Usually it's something that they think, well, in the moment I can get away with. But how in the moment is it? When you say you can't help me because your grandma died, but you'll help me after the funeral, I can understand if you're fucking distraught and it takes you a while. I can understand that. What I don't understand is that every time after that, it's either being completely non-committal, no time specified, no nothing. That's how I know you're not going to do anything. That's how I know you're not going to try. You don't set up an appointment, and you don't try to keep an appointment. You'll set it up for, in general, sometime tomorrow. Not realizing that because of my disabilities and because of my living arrangement, there are certain things that I have to do to be able to even accommodate such conversation. Obviously, I can't go into Denny's and Starbucks and start talking about rape and fucking murder. It's not going to go well. People don't want to hear that shit. They want to look away, same as you. They don't want their fucking kids exposed to that shit. The problem is, by not exposing their kids to the fact that that is a very real fucking reality, by not showing your kids, what you're doing is keeping them in a fucking bubble. Teaching them ignorance. And some of that ignorance is a lot harder to fucking sort out than Santa Claus and the fucking Keister Bunny. You blow people off with your pretty words. When you tell somebody, oh, if you were going to commit suicide, you would have done it already. Hold on a second. They're not coming to you because they're trying to commit suicide. They're coming to you because they're being abused and it is fucking unbearable. Why are they suicidal? That's what you need to be asking. Who is harming you? Boys already know this isn't going to work. That's why boys kill themselves at 5 times the rate of girls starting at the age of 15. girls start cutting on themselves at 5 times the rate of boys at the age of 15 because they know they're more likely to be heard. They're more likely to use those attention grabbing. Why is that? Because we've taught society that we're supposed to care about girls. Girls know that we're supposed to care more about them. Girls know that when they're hit, we're supposed to do something. They've heard people their whole lives saying, oh, well, if a man ever hits you, if a man ever hits you, if a man ever hits you. And then you get to see if it's a disabled homeless woman, 30 people who have said that, to probably 1,000 women each in their lifetime. Sat around and did nothing. Absolutely nothing. When it come time to do the valiant thing. Yeah, it came down to a fucking crippled Sean to stand up to a dude twice my size who's running that place like a fucking prison yard. Anna Hunka's dead. Natalie Bollinger is dead. A lot of other people are dead. Not because I didn't try to do the right thing, but because nobody else did. By their own guidelines, I'm not allowed to do this alone. I am supposed to have a guardian or an advocate. A guardian and an advocate, or a friend or family member. And even in the case where I have a friend or family member, I may still need a guardian and an advocate. But I can't get a guardian or an advocate without a friend or family member. They see the word advocacy on one of these things and they go, okay, that's an advocate. We'll send Sean to them. But they never make the calls with me. They just assume those people are going to do it because it says advocate in the job title. But when they don't do that advocate shit, because you didn't make the calls with them, and those advocates didn't feel that they had to follow the law. They felt that it was okay to lie about the law. They thought it was okay to lie to somebody who knows all about mandated reporter laws in multiple states, and they want to lie to me about what the mandated reporter laws state. Now, I have 2 options at that point, being as I am alone, whether I'm recording it or not. Either one, I can let them know that I am well aware of what the law states, and then state the law to them. But if I do that, they immediately start playing victim. They have literally committed a felony at this point because they just committed a misdemeanor. They committed a misdemeanor by lying to me about the law. It's amazing that that's just a misdemeanor, isn't it? They committed a felony by trying to cover it up, playing victim shit. Yeah, that ain't cool. That ain't smart, and that ain't right. There are actual victims out there. I'm trying to get help because I'm actually being victimized. But you want to play victim because you don't want to tell the truth. You don't want to tell the truth because you're a coward who's afraid of what other people think. But then you want to tell me I shouldn't care what other people think. You tell me you can't speak up about stuff that you weren't there for. Well, I wasn't asking you to speak up about stuff you weren't there for. But then you throw stuff in my face that you weren't there for. In many cases, the very stuff I was trying to get you to look at the evidence of the fact that it's fucking bullshit. It's a goddamn lie. You tell me that I'm selfish and that I only think about myself, but then you want to be selfish and talk about yourself. Make me feel bad for even asking you for help. That is fucked up. That is emotionally damaging right there. Pretending like you give a fuck about them and then showing that you don't repeatedly, but then you're going to say that you care. Or you want these people to leave your name out of it when they came to you for help. You want them to keep your name out of it because they're ashamed, because they did do wrong and they know they did wrong. And these are the people you're supposed to go to for help. Sure, they say nice things, but then once they get what they want, they dip right out the door now, don't they? If they were my friends, when I went to them for help, they would have helped me instead of blowing me off for months and months and months. The paperwork says right away. It also says friends and family. It's supposed to go to friends and family. See, I tried to do the preventative stuff first. I went to my friends and family. I already knew what my family were going to do. These are the same people that chose cocaine over their own kids. Of course I knew what my family was going to fucking do. My dad's a pervert. My mom's a pervert. Of course I knew what they were going to do. My mom says that liars are worse than murderers. I agree. My mom's a liar. And look at how many people are dead because she's, of course, completely fucking dishonest. Incapable of honesty. We've taught girls that when they break the law, they just play victim and it's all okay. They've been taught that these police officers, if they don't follow bias, instead of the law, they will be ostracized to fucking death. I mean, look at this false narrative that Zaid Atkinson and Sammy Leon Lawrence IV were targeted because of the color of their skin. Zaid Atkinson was beaten up by an officer who assaulted me too. I'm not black. That officer is darker than Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. Pay fucking attention, dumbass. Where is it that the cops ended up hanging themselves on that? They're fucking body cameras. But how many of you helped me get the body cameras? You made me go in alone and I was victimized. For literally years, I have been victimized because you didn't give a fuck. None of you did. When it comes to doing what the law says to do, none of you are trying. You're trying to pawn me off on someone else and making me do it alone. That's the number one thing that they say not to do. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. And then I get treated like I'm a horrible person because I'm trying to get help. Getting someone to go with me so I don't have to do it alone. I'm told I have to document it. I do document it. It's all over YouTube and Facebook, and you don't want it all over YouTube and Facebook that I went to you for help? People are fucking dead. Fuck your goddamn pride. You're fucking embarrassed? That's horrible. You shouldn't be embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. I'm fucking ashamed of you. Big goddamn difference. And you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You show the bias. You show that those three lies, even if they're completely bogus, any excuse to look away, any excuse to run away, any excuse to ignore the victim, and to treat the victim like shit for trying to get help, to treat them like they wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it, forcing them to do desperate things and then pretending like they deserve all of the abuse that led up to them having to do desperate things, including emotional abuse and neglect. It's a two-part system. With a girl, she's more likely to cut on herself. When daddy's raping her or beating on her, and she goes for help and she isn't heard, if she does something desperate like cut on herself, she might get heard. That's a last ditch effort to get heard. You're trying to get heard because you want the abuse to stop. You're not cutting on yourself because you want to cut on yourself. That doesn't happen until later, when it becomes a normality to you. When that is your sense of comfort. When you know that your voice means nothing. Your voice will never be heard. But those cuts, they're kind of like video games when you have a nagging wife. No matter what you do, it's not good enough. So you want to take an hour out of your day to play a video game, and she just won't shut up. You're a bad person for trying to take an hour away from her. Please give me an hour. Please let me see some progress in my life. You play that video game, and here's the point. Let's say you go to your friends and you ask them for help and you get blown off every time. You've made no progress. Let's say you ask your wife to quit treating you like you're a fucking servant, for shit's sake. And you get blown off, or you get yelled at, or you get treated like you're some sort of a horrible person for not being a rich and good-looking person with a giant cock. We're all people. We're all still people. But when we're called mentally ill, you get to see how we are blown off. When we're not attractive, people don't want to listen to us. No matter how honest we are, they're going to not take it seriously. If we're intelligent, they want to use that to pretend that we should be able to do it ourselves, not without the resources and not without the witnesses. If you can't even admit that I went to you for help, and I'm being abused by the public over slander that is very public, I'm going to show the truth, especially when there are a lot of people whose lives are at stake, and a lot of people who are dead, and a lot of people whose lives were threatened in horrible ways, and their families. And you could have done something, especially those of you before Natalie was killed who wanted to blow smoke up my ass and then just talk about yourselves. There were many situations where people showed up to help. The problem is they didn't actually help once getting there. Joanna Taylor Smith, Brandon Ratner, these people were actively involved in multiple situations with me moving my things and having to travel. They could take the time out for that. But here's the thing. While we're traveling, I'm trying to tell them about the situation that we're literally walking into. I need them to know and be informed about the situation, and they're busy talking over me, telling me how to think and feel, and it's even worse when there's more than one person. And you guys don't try to understand that somebody who is autistic, when you are all talking at fucking once, or we're trying to explain a simple concept, but we've got two people who are both wanting to interrupt and ask questions and talk over us, we're overwhelmed, and that is absolutely your fault, especially when we inform you that that's what that situation does. With these people who want to say, oh, well, you record people and post them on the internet. You're right. It's because I had to. If you were my friends, you would have fucking come forward with this shit a long time ago. You wouldn't force me to post it on the internet. You tell me that I'm selfish and not thinking about you or not thinking about your kids. No, I absolutely am. But I'm not just thinking about your kids. I don't have that luxury. I don't have the luxury of pretending to give a shit. Either I do or I fucking don't. You want to pretend I shouldn't care about my niece. You want to pretend I shouldn't care about my sister. You want to pretend that I shouldn't care about any of the people whose lives were threatened. Meanwhile, my predators pretend that I threaten their lives and it's magically okay. Holy hell. But none of you want to fucking take a look. It's not just my situation. It's not just Anahunka's situation. You kill your friends with emotional abuse. Every time that you want to give an idea, instead of trying it with them, you want to tell them how it is. They've been through it, but you won't hear that. You're not going to hear that if they say it 1,000 times. I need someone to do it with me, not for me. Don't tell me you're going to do something with me and then claim that you did it without me. You've got no proof. You're not trying to turn it in with me that you made the effort. You're dictating something to me. If you turn it in, it's evidence. If I have to turn in that you told me this, then it's hearsay. If you type it to me or you say it to me and I record it, it's no longer hearsay. And the fact that you didn't come forward about it and I had to come forward for you means that you committed a felony at that point, not a misdemeanor. Felonies, compounded with the fact that people are dead. And you allowed a false narrative to continue that could have resulted in Joseph Michael Lopez getting away because you didn't want to tell the truth. And after Lopez was busted, you still didn't want to tell the truth. Between me being victimized over a false narrative and you saving some face, I tried to let you save some face. If you were being nice to me, pretending you were my friend, that you were going to help me, that you do care about me, yeah, you were not a priority for exposing. But the moment you start bullshitting me and playing fucking victim and showing your true fucking colors do go up for everyone to see. Don't pretend to be a friend. You're sure gonna want some attention about their death afterwards, aren't you? This is your Facebook friend. They killed themselves. Oh, poor you, you wish you'd have seen it coming. You wish they'd have told you about the abuse. Fuck you. Even when we are fucking loud about it, you look the other way. You use the fact that we speak up as an excuse to look away. How do you treat us when we come forward? Do you do any of this friend shit right away? This is from the 19th of last month. I still have no one to go in with me. I still have no one to make the calls with me. And the lady who wants me to keep her name a secret, she still has not called. She still has not called. I'm supposed to believe her because why? What reason has she given me to believe her? She can say, oh, well, I sent you that character reference. You know what? That character reference, first of all, you didn't send it. You didn't. It took 2 years for you to do that. 2 years. Statute of limitations is fucking over by then. For 2 years, not a couple of days, not just a few days, not, hey, Sean, you need to be patient, it takes time. Of course it takes time. Of course it takes time. It takes apparently 6 years for you to still not call me. Don't say you're going to call if you're not gonna. Don't say I'll help you tomorrow and have me set my entire day aside. And yes, I do have to set my whole day aside. It takes 45 minutes for my computer to start up. It takes 45 minutes for my computer to shut down. I don't know when you're going to call. Apparently never. If you tell me you're going to help me and I sit there all day long and you don't keep your word, and then 3 days later you get back a hold of me to play fucking victim, you're not the good guy. Then when the cops say that I didn't try and wasn't trying to get help, are you going to speak up and admit that I went to you for help? Are you going to admit that you fucked up and didn't show up? Or are you going to play victim because I explained to the public who are harming me over this that I showed up, you didn't. I kept my word, you didn't. Like that analogy about the shoes. When somebody is being abused, they need abuse to stop, be it physical or sexual. Now, when it comes to threats against people's lives and threats against people's families' lives, you guys don't want to understand. I'm not allowed to care about my friends or family. You tell me just to care about myself. And then you use your friends and family being threatened as an excuse for not telling the truth. I'm asking for proof. If you're going to tell me that people are threatening to kill your friends and family, I want the proof. I didn't come to you for fucking fiction. I didn't come to you for bullshit and lies. I didn't come to you for excuses. I came to you for help. I came to you armed with the knowledge of how this shit works and the reasons that it doesn't. I came to you after years of explaining to you in person and also on my Facebook about exactly these things. And still, you guys did exactly those things. You did exactly the things to help the predators get away. You did exactly the things that a friend would not do. You showed that you don't care. I had to challenge your pride for you to even pretend to care. After you were an actual witness, you are a witness to the fact that the things that were said about me, the things that were used to deprive me of my rights as a human being, the things that allowed my predators to get away with doing whatever they wanted and continue to do so to this day, it's all because you didn't care. It's all because you wanted to look the other way. Why stick around? In order to defend myself and my loved ones, which includes you, I have to show the truth. I have to show that I was trying to get help. That those officers did lie. That the Bollingers did lie. That Kara Johnson Miles did lie. That Natalie Bollinger did lie. But you won't even look at those lies. You won't look at the evidence that it's lies. You want to pass me off onto a government agency that isn't going to do shit. Or you're going to tell me that you're going to make the calls with me, but you're not going to do shit. You're not going to follow through. That's the thing about showing the truth. Did I go to you for help? Yes, I did. The evidence is already... Congratulations, stupid. You could have saved yourself some face. You wanted to save some face by just ignoring it and looking the other way, but you assumed I was a fucking retard as soon as you found out I was autistic. And you started treating me like I'm retarded. You knew nobody was going to listen to me because you stopped listening to me. You push people to commit suicide through emotional abuse, through being as dismissive as you can towards the victim, by not acknowledging that they're being abused, by repeatedly telling them about your bullshit, and most of it is trivial. And then, of course, you want to send us to people who have it scripted what to say. Here's what you're supposed to say so that you don't make someone feel invalidated. Well, now you're reading from a fucking script. Instead of listening to the fucking victim, you're trying to stay on script. When people want to send you to the crisis line, they're staying on script. If your friend sends you to the crisis line, your friend isn't a friend, and your friend is trying to push you to kill yourself. That is not a friend. Get rid of them, and make sure people know what kind of a friend they are. They're the kind of friend who will look the other way while you are raped and fucking murdered. Like I said, it wasn't my predators that pushed me to commit suicide. It was my supposed friends, my supposed family, my supposed loved ones. The people that I am supposed to go to when I am abused because they're supposed to care. Some of them mandated by law to care. And none of them did.